great at your Junas.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 113 of Persona 4. I know that's a lot of parts, but trust me, we're actually nearing the end. It's time for us to go to heaven. I mean, no, not technically the end, but still. We got December, January, February, and March to go through. So, yeah, we're pretty close to the end. And it may take a little bit more parts because of how long the dungeons are. And speaking of which, heaven, which is the representative of Nanako's thoughts of her mother going to heaven, but Namatame's thoughts for this being a sanctuary, or how he thinks the Midnight Channel is a sanctuary anyway, for everybody that he's kidnapped, not knowing that every person that he put in is at the risk of death, including himself. Before I continue, here's Perpetual Sand, that is resistant to physical and fire, and Mythical Gaius that's weak to darkness, and Null's ice and wind, and Null's light is resistant to ice and wind, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. God damn it. But as you can see, Naoto will come in handy. Except for when it comes down to the boss battle, and there's a reason why. You see, the boss battle has a certain maneuver that he uses that can actually screw you over. And if he uses Naoto, and he uses all of Naoto's abilities, well, guess what? You're gonna have to start off from square one. Yeah, because you see, Naoto is the arcane persona user. And as you can see, we got Carnal Snakes, and we also got Cursed Dice. Cursed Dice, it's best to come in with Almighty, while Carnal Snakes can be easily dispatched with ice. If you have Magia Dolan, like I do, it's gonna be a cakewalk going through heaven, except for a couple of enemies that are resistant to Almighty. And as you can see, I'm going to be leveling up a lot of people. They'll probably be in the 80s, but more importantly, by the time we actually reach the true ending area, needless to say, they're going to be heavy hitters. Now then, the Prime Magus is weak to light and resistant to fire and magic. The Growth Relics is weak to fire and resistant to physical and electric. And as you can see, Naoto is making short work of everyone by just using Mamudun and Mahama, and also Megidola, or Magia Dolan. And that looks like a +5 to Arcane. I mean, to Experience, sorry. And I'm going to go ahead and get that. That's actually good. Because that Death card? Nah, I'm not going to do that. Because that'll screw me over, because I'll end up losing all my items. Or no, correction, I won't get experience until I get another card. And on that note, let us continue with floor 1. So, we'll be going up to Paradise 2 in a little bit. But first, a shadow that jumped out the box that we already fought before, which is why I skipped these battles. Because here's the thing, some of those enemies we just fought on this floor is between, actuality by the way, between floor 3 and floor 4 in the original Persona 4 game. So them showing up here is probably a new alteration. And that's all it is to it. So the actual boss itself should not be changed, but for some reason the enemies have been changed in placement, and some of them had some different effects, or should I say different immunities. One such enemy, I'm trying to think of the name, it was the I can't quite think of the name of it, but it's the Okinas. They were actually weak to fire. They're not gonna be actually weak to fire. They're gonna be weak to lightning, I think. But as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this is our Featherman costume, in case you haven't caught on to the audio when we go into battle. So on that note, let's get into a battle, shall we? And the only reason why these shadows are everywhere is because of the fact that Namatame is actually calling them. By the way, the shadow in question is the Dark Eagle, which is weak to ice and nullifies wind. Ice will pretty much solve this problem, but since we don't have anything that targets 3 people yet, I'm going to end them real quickly before they get any more annoying than what they already are. Yeah, I said they were weak to ice, and I meant every word of that. Actually, I was weak to fire, my bad. Oops, I didn't read my notes right. But yeah, they are actually weak to fire. And fire can actually hurt real bad later on in certain games. Oh, certain parts of this game, sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. I stutter too much. But I can take the time to change the subject just a little bit because the theme music is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, the overall theme, not the actual battle theme. But if push comes to shove, I'll try to eliminate them as quickly as humanly possible, like I just did. Light is a good thing, and oh, she's got there and used a Giadain and he's immune. Well, that's okay. We took down the enemy, and that's all that matters. However, Yu is almost at max level, meaning I won't have to level him up anymore. And that would be a good thing. Because then, the Reaper and also, let's see, Margaret may or may not stand a chance. It all depends. So let's open up the box, and we didn't get much out of it. And let's go on ahead and probably get to the next floor. Not probably, let's get to the next floor so we can get this over with. And there it is. Finicky Papillon. He's weak to ice and resistant to everything else. And just like that, we're about to take complete control of this situation. And that's all that needs to be done. And we've got enemies that we need to deal with. Well, I think that'll work, hopefully. Oh, they're all resistant, but we still beat them at least. And Lovers is increased. Gadon's increased. Sukuna, Hikuna, that one's increased. So, yeah, I think we're ready to go on to the next level. No, next area. Excuse me one second. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I fell asleep because my medicine was starting to take a hold of me. And also, by the time of this being recorded, I had such a terrible day at work. But let's be positive here. Now, the thing about this dungeon, as you see, there's all sorts of books and panzers and stuff like that. The game is throwing a lot of enemies at you. Some of them that are weak to electricity, some of them that are weak to physical. They're throwing everything in the book at you. But here's the thing about some of these enemies. While they do have these weaknesses, some of them don't flinch. The maniacal book being one of them. While yes, physicals are its weakness, it does not flinch. Yes, you could actually score critical on it, but it doesn't flinch. But that's the thing. Most of the enemies here can be wiped out by Almighty Spell. Plain and simple. If it's Magia Dolan, just wrap it up, because most of the enemies can be defeated. Now, there are maybe 1 or 2 enemies that takes more than one Magia Dolan, and more importantly, one of them that's actually resistant to it. But in the end, this is sort of the game that actually tests your skills on how well you actually maintain the system, and more importantly will throw curveballs at you. Because here's the funny part about all of this. You could have ran through this with Yosuke in Persona 4 Original. Not here. Nope. In Golden, they mixed up the weaknesses. And more importantly, the enemies that you would normally fight on the higher floors, they rearranged them for the lower floors. I should have brought that up too, and actually I did. So I thought I was forgetting about it, but I just now said it. That's how far out of it I am today because of my day at work. But seeing as how Golden tried to be diversifying with all of the enemies to try to make it even harder than what it already was, because Heaven was actually a harder stage in Persona 4 Vanilla, and that's because of the fact you probably came in under-leveled and you didn't stay in Secret Base, or you didn't stay in Void Quest enough to be at level 60, because if you weren't at level 60, these enemies would curb... Okay, you weren't at level 50, these enemies will curb stomp you. Level 60, you'll stand somewhat of a chance, but some of the enemies will still curb stomp you. Primarily, this is actually supposed to be the set... Oh wow, this is actually the... That's the exit right there, and that's a little bit too early if you ask me. But this is supposed to be the setup for you to gain enough levels so that when you get to endgame, you'll probably stand a chance. And by the way, Regal Mother is there, and the only thing it does is drain fire. That's it. By the way, that light, that's actually for Regal Mother. I forgot to put that on. Oops. My bad. Because Regal Mother only drained fire in Vanilla Persona. Now she drained fire and is weak to light. There's some enemies that used to be tanks in Persona 4 Vanilla that can now be easily dispatched. Oh, and funny thing, Regal Mother, that's another one that's supposed to appear in later paradises in this floor. Yeah, the floors in this stage is called paradises because of the fact that we're in heaven. And it's funny how in RPG cliche that either heaven or hell is practically used as either the penultimate or the second to last dungeon in the game. Well, it would be penultimate if you honestly go for the bad ending. And sorry I keep repeating that, folks, but there are people who literally do try to go for the bad ending for the achievements. I'm not kidding. By the way, Luxury Hand. This one's a little bit special because Physical and Almighty is the only thing that can actually do some serious damage to it. It resists some things, it absorbs and repels. So, your best bet is using Physical and Almighty to end this fight. And for the record, Lucky Hand, or Luxury Hand, sorry, they can actually summon enemies if they don't try to escape. And normally the enemies they summon is either Flame Wheels or Minotaur 4s. They summon Minotaur 4s, that would be an easier thing, because at least Minotaur 4s would be easily dispatched with McGee Doloan. I pronounced it correctly this time. So, with all the persona that I am pretty much powering up from those 3 hands I just killed, and that's a lot. Oh god damn! Naoto, oh that's Yukiko. Yukiko's at level 91 and Naoto's at 89. Jesus Christ, that is a lot of experience from those hands. And you know what? I'm kinda glad I got it too. So now let's go to the 4th paradise. Right after we get this treasure chest. It has a monster in it! God damn it. By the way, all those jump cuts you see, refights. Plain and simple, they're refights. But you will be grinding for a lot of money, and more importantly, a lot of items, which more than likely you're going to sell at the end of the game for money. And it's best you hoard up as much money as you can post-game, because if you don't, it's going to come back to haunt you. Because post-game, everything you'll probably be needing will be in one spot and one spot alone. So I'm just going to let you know on that. But we're closing in on Hanako. By the way, in case you probably haven't noticed, it's the Featherman outfit that we're wearing. And ironically enough, Yukiko is wearing Yukari's Featherman pink outfit that Yukari wore in Persona 3 and I think Persona 4 Arena. On that note, cutscene!
Mom?
That's Nana-chan's voice!
Mom? Where are you? Why did you disappear? Why did you leave me? No! Come back! Are these Nanako-chan's feelings? But I'm not lonely. I have Dad with me. I know he's always late coming home, and he never plays with me because he's so busy. He can't cook or do laundry either. He tries to be nice, though he is a little scary sometimes. But I love him. Big Bro is with me now too. So I'm not alone. I'm not lonely.
Little kid. Telling herself she's not lonely so she doesn't fall apart.
You idiot. We'll ruin everything if we act all sad. We gotta greet her with a smile.
Nana-chan.
What's the matter?
Something's not right. There's someone here besides Nanako-chan. It was faint at first, so I couldn't tell for sure. But there's definitely another person here. And whoever this is, their power's getting stronger.
Could it be Namatame? Did he duck in here after being cornered like Mitsuo?
Perhaps so. It seemed as if he was particularly determined to kidnap Nanako-chan.
But why? If he's the real culprit, he must know the dangers of coming into this world.
I don't know, but if it is him, he may have entered from a TV near the site of the accident. Perhaps even the TV in his truck, which means Nanako-chan may be in grave danger. We must hurry.
Remember that I said that Namatame was also here too? Yeah, you'll start hearing his distorted desires as you go further on the paradises. And you'll slowly but surely hear less of Nanako. Well, not technically here because they're not voiced, but you'll be reading cutscenes of him trying to fight with himself due to the fact that he was supposed to be somewhat of a martyr. Or a savior, if you will. And he has a messiah complex because the people that he saved is actually doing well. And that's the thing that Namatame doesn't get. He wasn't the one that caused that. we were, and the people who he saved were about to die. We'll have to beat that to him later, but for right now, Killer Drive. He's weak to fire, null to electricity, and by the way, we're going to eliminate every single enemy in this area.
3 enemies to
And like I said, it's gonna take 2 hits for Megiadolan because of how big and chunky some of these enemies are and how much resistance they have to Megiadolan. Yes. But all the crackweed and keys I practically used. Because this is a new area and there's a good chance that we were going to get some armor, but unfortunately that's not the go. That's also a refight, by the way. I was hoping for the off chance of actually getting some new armor because I'm pretty sure that Heaven had some armor. And if it don't, I could always come back for the True Endings dungeon just so I can try to get the armor. And if I'm not lucky enough, then oh well, I'll just not worry about it. But one thing is for sure, we're going to the halfway point right now of Heaven. There is 10 paradises in this stage, and we have already cleared 4 of them. And with jump cuts, it's in under 25 minutes. So thank you for that. And if you hear my cat in the background, he's just protesting because he wants something. I'll deal with him off screen. But for right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end it here. And in the next part, we're going to be going through Paradises 5 all the way to Paradises 10. And with 115 being Namatame himself. This is RVman985. Peace out, and I hate November.